You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty. Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Call. This episode is with my uncle, Kevin Call. He owns High Point Outfitters out of Arizona. Yep. He grew up in Arizona. In fact, I was born in Flagstaff, Arizona, the city he calls home.
I used to give him a hard time about being Oregonian, but I'm like, I can't do that because he's born in Arizona.
Yeah, and he shot a 222-inch mule deer on the Kaibab this year. He talks about that. You can, if you're listening to this podcast, you might want to go look at the video because this buck is a dream buck.
It's a stud.
It's amazing. It's an incredible deer. We passed the head around there, the antlers around. Brian Barney got his hands on it. Ryan Lampert's got his hands on it. It's a really cool buck. It's heavy and bladed. But Kevin talks about the Kaibab, talks about opportunities in Arizona.
Yep.
Shares his 2 cents. Every year I try to get him on in February before the application season for Arizona. So he shares his opinion on the applications that are out there. Or application strategies, I suppose. And he also, as always, is really very generous with his time. Gives out his phone number and contact info. You can give him a shout. If you've got points in Arizona, he has some advice for you. And good advice, I think.
Yes. Yeah,
so check that out. It's good stuff. Let us know what you think in the comments. Before we move on, don't forget, if you want to support us, shop at Mountain Ops. I've been loving their new flavors of Ignite, Rocky Mountain Ricky.
Coming out with like a ton all the time.
There's a few new flavors. The half caffeine strawberry daiquiri or something.
Not for me.
That one's great, except the half caffeine part. Actually,
it does taste really good.
It is. It's actually kind of nice because I'll have one full strength dose, and then I should probably on this. When I want my second scoop, I'll just go a half dose. Anyway, it's out there. Check it out.
Yep.
Use the code GRITTY at Mountain Ops and check out their exercise clothes. I use the shorts and the jackets and the hoodies and stuff like that. And they're merino. It's good stuff, and it helps us. Also, you can help us if you need some sheep feet. Mm-hmm. We hung out with the guys at the expo, talked to them a little bit. They have a great product. If you don't have a custom orthotic for your foot, check it out. Yep. It's a good product. Really good. I can't recommend it enough. I like the single ply, the single layer foam, full length with the heel cup.
And I think for two reasons, because one, I already have boots that I already have purchased and stuff.
Yeah.
And if I go the double cushioning, then they're just too small.
I'm just not a big cushioning fan.
Me either.
Like I like
I just need
minimal
support.
Shoes anyway.
Yep.
And I've just found that I really like that single cushion layer. So check them out. And then Dark Energy. That's another one. If you're in need of a good battery pack for super cold weather like what we're standing in right now, Dark Energy makes a resilient battery pack. I still have one from 2015 that's still going strong.
Yep.
And
I got one two from 17 that are still in my backpack.
You can run them over, get them wet, lots of stuff, and they keep on working. So anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast with Uncle Kevin. And as always, stay gritty, friends. All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call, and I'm joined today by my uncle, Kevin Call, out of Flagstaff, Arizona, High Point Outfitters. And it's been a little bit, so we're going to sit down and talk. You basically crushed a sort of a lifetime goal. Look at this deer. For those that are listening and not viewing this on YouTube, you should go check it out on YouTube because my uncle is holding up a 222-inch muley buck that you took this year off the Kaibab in Arizona. And the thing is an absolute, the mass. Let me see it real quick. I mean, the thing that's the most impressive is all that bladed action in the mass. The bone on this thing is ridiculous. You got the kicker color on the side, the color.
The color, mass.
Did Lampers see this?
He did not. We need to get it to Lampers.
We need it. I need his reaction.
Yep.
This thing is unbelievable. So it does tape out at 222.
Yep.
Well,
222 and change, yeah.
on this podcast, I want to talk to my uncle about Arizona, about the draw deadline, which is coming up here soon.
Yep.
A little bit of strategy. You've been guiding in Arizona for
15 years, 16. I think this year's we are 16.
And you just grew up there too. So you it's your backyard, it's your home state, it's your home area. You pretty much know what there is to know about the state and the hunts there. So we'll get into some tags and some application type stuff. Have a little discussion on that. And then let's talk about this deer as well, and how this went down, because this is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a dream come true. Finally made it happen for myself. I've guided on 200-inch bucks and 220 bucks, but I've never killed one myself, and finally made it happen.
Dude.
Yeah. Yep.
Real quick, I don't really know the story behind it, but when you walked up on it, was he bigger than you thought, smaller than you thought? Like what?
Yeah. In fact, I posted some stuff on my Instagram, but and if somebody wants to see the video, it's HPO_Kevin_call. So, but we watched him for a half hour. He was bedded down through some really thick trees. We knew that he had great fronts. We knew he was heavy. We could tell he had something going on up top and up back, but we couldn't tell. We didn't know how wide he was. He never looked at us. We were 330 yards away. We had passed a buck that was 190 a couple days prior.
Jeez.
We were hunting a buck that we figured was 230, and I've hunted him for 3 years. We had just come off that buck and came into this new area. We saw this buck, and we knew he was over 200. We just didn't know how good he was. But yeah, I'm notorious for shooting bucks that I hope are better than they are. And I had a buddy with me, Shane Woodruff was with me. He's right by my side, and he was like, "Man, I don't know if he's 200. I can't tell, but he's got to be dang close." And so I threaded a bullet in at 330 yards, one shot, and he was on some real steep snow country, and he slid in our view for about 10 feet is all, and then he was gone, sliding down the hill. And I looked back to Shane, and he said two things. That's a dead buck, and he's bigger than I thought he was. And I was like, man, that is good to hear. He was looking through this. He was looking through the BTX. And yeah, when we walked up to him, co-owner of High Point, John Adams, came in, and so there was three of us that went down. John actually rolled video when I walked up to him. And just the mass I knew he was massive, and I could see this big front end. But it was just elated. Unbelievable.
Normally, in a lot of places, when you come across a deer of this caliber, a ton of people are trying to get it. Like, a lot of people know about it.
Yeah.
Is this kind of one of those deer? Did people know about it?
I'm almost so. I killed my first buck on the Kaibab 1972. Okay, so we hunt similar spots year. It's changing a little bit because we had a 100,000-acre fire 3 years ago. It's maturing, so the deer have moved around a little bit. Believe it or not, we never saw this buck prior to us seeing him and killing him. I mean, that's just dream come true, right? I mean, never saw the buck prior to killing him. We were hunting another buck that was probably a little better, and just couldn't get it done. It was on the early Kaibab hunt, 12A West. We like 12A West is the unit to get on the Kaibab. But on the early hunt, they're just real thick pines, aspen, very difficult to get a good, clean look at them, to know what you're shooting. Again, I'm notorious for thinking, man, that's a good buck as he's running, or not getting a real good look at him. So it's tough to really see him. But, yeah, that's
wow.
We never saw that buck before we killed him.
Which makes sense, too, in some ways, because you'd think a buck like this, people would notice, but at the same time, he didn't get this big by being noticed,
Yeah, we got him tooth aged. I'm anxious to get the actual age, but estimated to be 9.5 years old. So we aged him tooth aged, and I'll have that. Hopefully I'll have that here in the next month or so from the Arizona Game Fish.
So this thing, unbelievable. And I think it's even cooler that you didn't know quite how big it was and that you weren't like sitting there with 25 other guys trying to kill the same deer.
Yeah, I agree. We were the only ones hunting the canyon. He's in his transition zone, going to the winter country. We check the transition zones. We try to check them every other day or so. We were at the right place, right time, in an area that, we've harvested other bucks. And that's the cool thing about the Kaibab and hunting it for so long. I love to go from sweet spot to sweet spot to sweet spot to sweet spot, right? And you just find bucks and find bucks that you've never seen before. Of course, this year they've stopped doing cameras, so there's no cameras,
right?
And so we didn't have intel on this buck at all.
What's the color about on this deer?
Yeah, so he was so the Mangum fire was about 80,000. It burned 80,000 acres 3 years ago. He was in the Mangum burn, just scraping on black burn trees.
Is that what it is?
Yep,
it's so
because it's unusual to have that dark a horn on the Kaibab, and quite frankly, it's it looks
charcoal
to
dipped.
be that heavy. Yeah,
it looks charcoal dipped. You know.
Yeah.
And this heavy too.
Yep.
How much of this buck's deal is its mass?
Yeah, I should have brought a score sheet, but I didn't.
I mean,
he's got great mass, and I should know that, but I don't.
Because your other buck is also your other buck I've seen since I was a kid. Basically, is about 200 inches.
Yeah, he's 198. He's 36 inches wide, so he's just got a big old frame.
Talk about different.
Yeah, big frame that just lays out. He's got good fronts. He's got really, crappy G3s on one side. He's missing an eye guard on one side. So, totally different buck. We get most of his score, through the width measurement. This one's 27 inside, so he's got 27 inches of width. You'd hope to it didn't quite hit the 30 mark outside, but, the mass is what's impressive on that buck. And to me, the color, he's got double eye guards on both sides.
I know.
Just cool buck. Just cool buck.
You got it all. Got it all.
Cool
He's
buck.
wide enough. He's got all that bladed action. You got the eye guards, the mass, the boxy kind of look. He's just a stud. So talk to people about the Kaibab. Talk to people about Arizona. Guys that want to hunt, get out there and go after it. If you're a non-resident, how do you get a tag like this?
Yeah, so the Kaibab's the place to be. And I know, you have a lot of archery hunters that follow you. The archery hunt is the easiest hunt to draw.
Mm-hmm.
And for a resident, they can draw every, you have 4 or 5 points for a resident is probably 9 to 10 for an archery hunt for a non-resident. This is an early rifle Kaibab hunt. It's the easiest rifle hunt to get. We have an archery hunt on the Kaibab, early rifle hunt, and then we have a late rifle hunt that's around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Well, the late rifle hunt is the best hunt, but with 70 tags, it's tough. You have to have maximum to be able to draw the tags. Now, we did kill John Adams, my partner, co-owner of High Point Outfitters, killed a 240 buck on the late hunt this year. The late hunt is a great hunt, but
240.
It just takes too long to draw. And so I've been drawing early hunts because I want to hunt. I don't want to.
The deer are there; they're just a little harder to get.
The deer there. There's 350 tags compared to 70, so a lot easier to draw. For residents, it took 11 points last year. For non-residents, it was probably like 17 for the early hunt. Now, when I talk about points, people get confused. You can actually draw any hunt in Arizona, including the Kaibab, with no points because 80% of the tags go in a random draw. Yep. So 80% of the tags can be drawn in random, and then 20% go to people with the most points. So you can actually draw a tag with no points. So all you got to do is put in.
Yeah. Arizona's smart that way. So you're saying about 17 points to get that early tag as a non-resident.
Yep.
What about for a resident?
11.
11.
Took 11 last year. It'll take 12 this year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, dang, man. What a cool buck. So for people who just want to get down there and hunt deer in Arizona, what are your thoughts on that?
So there's a variety of options. Of course, we love the Kaibab. So if you're looking for a draw tag, really the archery is, draw tag's phenomenal. But as you know, the over-the-counter archery, if they're archery hunters, over-the-counter archery deer, you can hunt January, you can hunt August, and you can hunt December. So you can hunt 3 full months over-the-counter archery in Arizona. Really almost the last over-the-counter opportunity we have in Arizona. They just changed it this year, as you know, with quotas. So it depends on what unit and that.
How did those quotas affect? I think I had Callie Hartson from Arizona Game and Fish on the podcast yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And she talked to me about it, and she said they closed about half the units. They reached the quota at some point, but the other half never did close at all.
Yep. Still open in January because the quota runs through January.
Yeah.
So there's still half the units open. So some of our guided hunts, if a unit's closed, we just go to the unit next and we'll go to the next unit.
What's what's it take to draw the Kaibab for archery? Non-resident.
Yep. Takes 4 or 5 as a resident. 8 to 9, I think, something like that for non-resident. Again, to guarantee, you can draw it. There's 350 tags on that hunt, so you can draw it.
I think I've got
about half.
6.
It's about twice as hard to get the early rifle as it is the archery hunt.
I think I've got about 6 deer in Arizona right now, and it is tempting to try to do like a Coues deer rifle because I could get that quicker and easier. But actually, it's not. As I was doing the math the other day, Kaibab archery is actually maybe, it's within striking distance of the rifle Coues deer I kind of wanted to do. They're almost same number of points. So then when it comes down to that, it's like, well,
it's too bad that Arizona doesn't show or doesn't identify these as different species.
That was
for
the whole
draw,
conversation I had.
It's deer, and so Coues and mule deer together. Unfortunately, because I never burn my points on Coues. I'd go to Mexico like you did. Go to Mexico and hunt Coues, or go to New Mexico and hunt Coues. For me, I save all my points for mule deer, and probably will never burn my points on a Coues deer in Arizona.
I think I'm going to do the same. Mexico offers a great opportunity. Like you said, New Mexico.
Yep.
I can also do Coues with a bow fairly easily in Arizona.
Yep.
If not every year, every couple years.
Yep.
Which kind of and also archery over the counter.
That's right.
Or first come first serve now for non-residents for archery in Arizona. So those are all appealing to me. It'll be hard if I've got 10 points. Looking at this, I kind of want to archery the Kaibab or something like that.
It's hard to beat. You will see 10 to 15 bucks a day on the archery hunt. Mm-hmm. And a guy like you that's proficient with archery equipment, you can kill a 180 plus buck. And we killed 200-inch bucks. We killed a 205 buck this year, a client on the archery hunt. So they're there. You can kill them with archery equipment. It's archery success is so dependent on the hunter, right?
Really is.
He's got to be proficient with his equipment. But it's mostly spot and stock. The last 2 years we've had so much rain. Sitting water is just not an option. Spot and stock is really good because with so much moisture, it's really quiets down the opportunity to spot and stock. So 4 or 5 years ago during the drought, sitting water was very productive. Yeah. We could run cameras. We knew which bucks were coming in during the day. Now they're not. It's not. That's not an option anymore to run cameras. So, but right now we've got 4 feet of snow on the ground at Jacob Lake. I just came over the Kaibab yesterday. We've got great moisture. The thing, I'm a little worried about Wyoming and Idaho having some winter kill. I've been in Arizona my whole life. I don't know of any time that they've had winter kill in my lifetime, at least. So the deer can go down to 4,500 feet, 5,000 feet, get out of the snow. Fredonia is at probably 5,000 feet. There's no snow.
Dang.
And so they can get out of it. So we've got good winter range, good summer range. Yeah, we can get them out of the snow.
And so if people want to get in touch with you to figure out maybe a tag strategy, a hunt strategy, or they got a lot of points and they're like, hey, I think I might want to leverage some help. You have a number of ways you can help folks out.
Yes, I guess I'm a little anal in that regard. I'm a CPA by trade. I've been a CPA for 35 years, so I've helped people try to get tags in Arizona. That's really what we help them do, and hope they turn into clients. But if they're not clients, we don't care. We just help people get tags. And we have, so right now, the deadline for elk and antelope is February 14th. Hopefully Brian will get this out before February 14th. Actually, now that we've got Brad will get this out by February 14th. So the deadline, the best way, and then the deer applications, deer and sheep applications are later in the summer. It's the second Tuesday in June. For the deer application. So I love to talk to people about deer in May, and we're full steam talking to people about elk and antelope right now. The best way to get a hold of me is an email, so I can send you some pictures, get an idea of what you're looking for, what would be the best hunt for you, then I can give you recommendations. Email address is shoot, so SHOOT at highpointoutfitters.net is the best way, or follow us on Instagram. Our cell phones are on there and what have you. But our website, highpointoutfitters.net, and I'm sure Brian will throw links in. So get a hold of us. We can help you get archery elk tag, rifle elk tag, whatever you want to do, whatever your forte is, and then later on this summer help you get a deer tag.
And for elk, talk about that a little bit. One of the things that has interested me with elk was, some of those late season options. Archery.
We have late rifle and we have late archery in the best units in the state. Okay, so you're in the best unit in the state, hunting with archery equipment in November. During the years that we don't have snow on the ground and it's dry, those archery hunts can be money because the elk are coming into water, coming and going. You can harvest one. Sit in water, you can harvest one. When there's snow on the ground, quite frankly, it's pretty tough to spot and stock, but definitely doable. Yeah, we have guys that harvest some phenomenal animals on that late archery hunt. We also have a late muzzle loader hunt in Unit 10. Great hunt. And then, of course, we have late rifle hunts as well. So you've got a lot of options. You got the archery hunt that's usually middle of September to end of September. It's a 2-week archery hunt. Then we go right into a rifle hunt, early rifle hunt that's a week right after the archery hunt. And then units have late muzzleloader hunts, usually first week, second week in October or November, and then we have an archery hunt, and then we have the late elk hunt. This year, that late elk hunt, they push it back to December 1st. It usually starts traditionally the Friday after Thanksgiving. That's always when it started. This year, for whatever reason, they pushed it back. So it's December 1st through the 8th this year is the late rifle elk hunt.
Okay.
So a lot of options. Of course, the late rifle elk hunts are the easiest because there's more tags. The elk are harder to kill, in some rough country.
Get some broken.
They're not bugling. We do have broken points. We didn't have as many last year. I'm a true believer when it was dry, the horns are brittle, they break. During the drought, 3 or 4 years ago, it was hard even in the early rifle hunt to find them that weren't broken because they do rut pretty hard. But I think the horns are a lot denser. They're in a lot better shape. And we had less broken horns last year.
Yeah,
we had good antler growth.
A bunch of guys that had been to Mexico before had told us when we go down there for coups, they're like, the biggest problem was just finding something that wasn't busted in pieces.
Yeah.
And we got down there, and there was nothing broken.
Yep.
And again, we were like, even Lampers and I, it had to be the weather, to be the drought causing that brittle horns to just be so to just break so easily. So.
Yep. We had great vegetation. We had great winter moisture and great summer moisture last year. We've had fantastic. We're over 200% of normal for winter moisture right now. It's going to be a great antler growth season this year.
So right now, how many points does a guy need to get a good archery hunt for elk, you think? Just a 6x6 bull type hunt.
If you want a 326 point, you can kill that in any unit in Arizona archery hunt. Any unit. You proved that in one of the worst units in the state.
I loved it. It's one of my favorite hunts of all time.
Yeah, and it's the worst hunt in Arizona. So yeah, if you want to
was easy to draw.
If you want to kill a 320 type 6 point, we've got a lot of options for you. What's going on though is people that have invested, they're 15, maybe even 20 years into the system, they keep holding on to their points, and that's fine if that's what they want to do. But, man, there are a lot of options for somebody with 10-plus points.
Yeah.
10-plus points.
Yeah.
But again,
I think those go undervalued. People don't consider them because they're like, they think of those legendary units and they got to save for those.
Yep.
Not realizing that, okay, you're not going to find a 400-inch bull on this unit, but there's a lot of 330 bulls kicking around everywhere you look. Is that not a great experience for a guy? I mean, and it could be. It could be a guy wants that 400-inch bull or nothing.
Yep.
But there's a lot of guys out there, I think, that just want to go and chase a mature bull and have a lot of chances at it, and you get that.
So we're based out of Flagstaff. All the units around Flagstaff, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all of those units that are right there around Flag, all of them and all the subunits, all of those units, 350 bulls, you'll see 350 bulls on your hunt. Whether you kill one, is so dependent on the archery hunter. 1 in 27 is the other units that we love, and we love 23. So those are the units. Generally, those are most of the 90% of the units that have elk in Arizona.
Yeah.
And we cover them.
That crappy unit I was in that you're talking about.
Yep.
I killed, I think it was around 320, 330. And but Russ Meyer was there, and he shot a 350-inch 5x5.
Yep.
That's a ridiculous animal.
Yeah.
And that was in that spot.
Yep.
So,
that's right. Yeah.
Very cool. That spot seemed to be cursed with 5x5s or 5x6s. Just like, what's the deal, dude?
And some of it's age class. They just have pounded the elk there, but they've come off of that. They had about 3 or 4 years ago. They stopped having 4 or 5 early rifle hunts back to back. It just killed the unit. They've backed off of that a little bit. We had a big monster fire go through there last summer, so half of the unit, actually where you killed, it all closed. Can't get in it anymore, or can't access it with vehicle last year, so that saved a bunch of bulls. I'm hoping that the fire will produce some, better quality habitat, and will hopefully they'll leave the elk alone a little while, and maybe it'll come back. But if your guys want to come, kill a nice 6-point, have a great experience, they don't have to wait for the top units in the state.
Yeah, last I checked, you needed like 7 points, maybe 5 points for some units.
Yep.
And those units are on par with. They're better than a lot of the units I'm hitting in other states that are more traditional over the counter, like Idaho, Montana, and Oregon, and so it's like, man, that's not a very long wait between hunts.
Yep.
And if you get the bonus point and you get the loyalty point and you get the archery point, that adds 2 more perpetual points to the table for every year.
2 years ago. So those of you that are just getting into the game in Arizona, you need to seriously get a they call it I think it's a hunter ethics point. That's like a hunter ed point. The old hunter ed point, you had to come to Arizona, you had to do hunter ed, and you had to do all this rigmarole to come to Arizona to do. But now they have an ethic point that is exactly the same thing. You can't get both. You can only get one. The other. You can jump on, do it all on the internet. You can knock it out on the internet, and you have that permanent point forever you're putting in for Arizona. Worth doing for especially for non-residents, just to give you that extra point.
Yeah.
I
also think it's great for javelina.
Yeah.
Because they often take 1 point or 2 points to draw those javelina units.
Yep.
So something that you need to wait a couple of years to get, every second year, every third year, every other year you can get. If you have those 2 points, mathematically, that makes you an annual drawer of javelina tag.
Yeah, you're guaranteed. And
it seems like people hear about it, but they don't follow through, or I don't know what it is, but you would think that would raise the overall, need. And I'm sure it has some.
Yeah.
But overall, though, I feel like, I have the draw odds haven't crept up all that much.
Yeah, no, they haven't. One thing I want to say about Arizona elk hunting, you bring up Idaho, and I'm sure your listeners watch your amazing film. They got to give you a shout out, dude. You got the best videos out there.
Thanks.
And I'm not that steep junk that you hunt in Idaho. Guys don't have to worry about that in Arizona. We've got the best elk and easy terrain to hunt. It's a dream compared to what Brian's doing. So don't let Brian run you off Arizona because it's this.
Jay Scott tells me, Brian, you don't have to be fit to kill elk.
No, you don't.
If you're in Arizona.
Yeah. Typically, we probably drive. We drive our vehicles to the vast majority of our elk. We can load them up in a vehicle. So
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, check it out. Go to Kevin's Instagram page, which, say that again. It's
okay. So it's HPO for High Point Outfitters. HPO_Kevin_call. Now, I don't know why I made it that hard. The other one, and John Adams posts more than I do. He's younger, so he does
his
a lot more
Instagram is a little better than yours.
Yeah, AZ_Hunter. So AZ_Hunter is
John. That one's easy.
Yep, AZ
and
Hunter.
I'll put these links in the description field of this podcast on our YouTube channel. So those that are listening, you can find, you can go right there, and I'll put links in there. I'll put your phone number in there, your contact info, your email in there. So audience, you can go there if you just want to get that detail. But check it out. Check out Kevin's stuff. And if you are in the game for Arizona, don't hesitate to reach out for some ideas and some support. And if you got points and you're thinking about, hey, it's time to pull the trigger on that, see if Uncle Kevin can help you out. I think that's great. Anything else you want to throw out there?
I just say don't wait. Right now, the Kaibab is hot. And all your listeners, the guys that have been playing the game for a while, right? I mean, again, I've got 15 Wyoming deer points, and I thought I was going to jump on the wagon this year or next year. Well, now they might have a winter kill. So you never know.
That's right.
You jump on it when you can, when it's strong.
We knew that.
Colorado the same way, have a winter kill every 5 or 6 years. You never know it's going to get wiped out. Hunt when it's hot. The Kaibab right now is hot. Elk in Arizona I don't think has ever been better than right now. It's really strong right now. Antelope are a little off, but
because when
hunt while you can.
Like Mexico, we looked at the crazy growth in the rain. And then last year when I was down there in Arizona, we had come off some serious droughts year over year over year. Well, that last year when I went down there, I was like, dude, we came on some giant muleys and kuzbucks, and that was just all. I bet you those deer are normally 20 inches, 30 inches smaller.
Right.
But those mule deer, probably those coos deer, 10 inches smaller. But because of the great growing season, you're talking about a whole new class of critter there. So same thing happens, I'm always looking at going to Kodiak or to Prince of Wales Island, and it's like, okay, when was the last time they all died off?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're on a 7-year high and the weather, you got some age class now, because that's the only thing wiping them out.
Yep.
So time that thing right. It's a great point. Arizona's got some great health. If you got all those points, man, not a bad time to
the thing you need to look at Arizona is moisture. We don't have winter kill, so when you got to stay out of the drought seasons. That's what kills Arizona. We don't have any live water. We don't have running water. We don't have, So in Arizona, those that are interested in Arizona, you need to look at peak moisture years or prior years. That's when the antler growth is the best. That's when to hunt in Arizona. And it's all about moisture and water. So come see us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Kevin, appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Appreciate it. And, folks, if you like the channel, like and subscribe. Leave us a comment below. We appreciate that. And, as always, stay gritty.